Hey guys, so maybe later this week or the next week, I'll post a DD guide on how to play DD, but if you guys don't know how pens work, then that's a little rough. So let's explain how pens work. So firstly, every single pendulum card has a scale. So you can scale your pendulum cards, and then or you can use them as monsters as per normal. You can normal summon it, you can set it. Some of them can be special summoned, but we're going to mostly be focusing on DDs here. So they improved these in the recent update. So I believe what effects are activating actually gets displayed. Not super relevant here, but we'll start with scales anyways. Well, I was going to explain scales. I got off topic for a second there. So we have Cerberus scale 6, we have Griffin, and Copernicus, which are scale 1. So if I were to just scale Copernicus and scale Cerberus right now, then first off, their pendulum effects would be active once they're scaled. You cannot pendulum summon monsters except for DD monsters. This effect cannot be negated. Once while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can negate an activate spell effect that would inflict damage to you, then destroy this card. Once per turn you attack your 1 DD monster you control, change its level to 4, and if you do, it gains 400 attack and defense. So these effects are basically like continuous spells. So same as this. So if I, for example, activate this card here, we'll go ahead and activate our contract with the gate. But also, we should not put any of our spell traps and such in the leftmost and rightmost zone, because that actually will prevent us from scaling stuff there. And once we place them, we can't remove them unless we had something like an MST, but that's just really bad to do so. So if I were to activate this effect here, and then my opponent chained an MST, then this effect would not resolve properly, and I would not be able to add my DD monster. Pendulum cards are all like pendulum effects are all like that. So let's say we have a chain 1, literally any pendulum effect, and then chain 2, you remove it in any way, shape, or form. That pend effect can't activate. And then the next thing I'm going to explain here is so normally when you do stuff with a pen card, they get sent to the extra deck face up. That's not always true, so we'll go ahead and use Swirl Slime for example. Swirl Slime. And then we'll target Swirl Slime and then Griffin here. We'll just summon Genghis here. Small Genghis. And then, if you notice, my Griffin actually did go to the graveyard. So if you send, destroy, whatever from hand, your pen cards will go to the graveyard from hand. It's only on whilst they're on the field that they get sent to the extra deck face up. So if I were to, for example, normal summon Copernicus and then use it for a fusion summon, then it would actually go to the extra deck face up and not the graveyard. And if they were destroyed whilst on the field, then they also go to the extra deck. The only times pens on the field don't go to the extra deck is I believe when they're banished or sent to the graveyard, returned to the hand. Like, those effects won't actually get it sent to the extra deck face up. So I guess if you think about it, the banish pile is a place and the graveyard is also a place, and your hand is also a place. So if it doesn't specify where the monster goes exactly, most of the time you should expect it to just go to the extra deck face up, if that makes sense. So now we're going to go ahead and activate Swirl Slime. Thomas. Oh, not Thomas. Copernicus. Alright. So I don't think I explained scales properly yet, but I don't remember if I did. Maybe I'm having amnesia. well, we'll go ahead, activate this. It actually shows which effect is being activated now, which is kind of cool if you see this white text here, right? And then we'll go ahead and add Orthros here. I mean, we don't have to, but that's what I'm doing here. So, another thing about pens is you don't want to place your pen cards, well, you don't want to summon any monsters to this middle zone unless you're linking them off. I think I can showcase it here if I want to, but whatever. So, we're going to just make Baron here. We'll place Baron in this zone. This zone is okay. So, we could summon Baron to this zone or this zone, so it won't block our blink arrows. So we're going to make Gilgamesh using Copernicus and Griffin. Copernicus and Griffin, Orthros, all of them are actually sent to the extra deck face up instead of the graveyard because they were used as like summoning material, I guess, like link material, synchro material, whatever. Doesn't matter where we place Gilgamesh here. Gilgamesh effect. Then we can choose 2 monsters to scale. We'll go Orthros, Ragnarok, whatever. I don't really need to be explaining this right now, actually, but yeah. So, we have our low scale, 3, and our scale of 5. If we had 2 5 scales, we can't summon anything, or we can't pendulum summon anything. But basically, you can special summon, or I guess in this case it's pendulum summon. You can pendulum summon monsters between your 2 scales. So here we have 3 and 5. So we have level 4. If we had, for example, 0 and 10, we can summon between monsters level 1 through 9, I guess, actually. Yeah. And when you special summon monsters from your extra deck specifically, they are summoned to the EMZ and or the well, not and or each player can only use 1 EMZ, so it summons to a zone a link monster is pointing to. So in this case I have Gilgamesh, who is pointing to this zone and this zone. So when we pendulum summon, we can summon up to 2 monsters from our extra deck. So in this case we'll choose Griffin and Orthros. And we can summon Cerberus from our hand as well. There's no like specific limit on how many monsters you can summon from your hand, but I guess you do need them in hand, so whatever. But you can't like put a Cerberus here from hand. If it was summoned from the extra deck, it could go here, but it's not going to, I guess. Anyways, we're going to finish this. We're going to activate Griffin effect. Oh, it highlights what effect is being activated now. That's kind of nice. Alright. For monsters with a lot of effects, that helps. So, the exception when it comes to like going back to the extra deck with all of our well, I'm having difficulty with my words right here, but the exception with the summoning methods and stuff when we're using our monsters as materials for a special summon, I guess, to summon a extra deck monster, if you actually use them to summon a XYZ monster, they do go to the graveyard as normal. So if you were to fuse with them, synchro with them, link them off, then they would go to the extra deck face up, but in this case, we're going to go ahead and make Caesar. And then we'll just summon Fel on top. I just don't have it in me to not do the full combo. And I don't have it in me to not do the Tell burn. Anyways. Got distracted there, so... When I link off Tell here, my attached Griffin will go to the graveyard and not the extra deck face up. Like so. This is important for DD specifically because Griffin actually has an effect where it has to be special summoned from the graveyard specifically to activate the add 1 DD card from your deck to your hand effect. And to do that, you have to either XYZ summon it or discard it from your hand. And I think that is most of the basics for pendulum summoning, I believe. Usually a good amount of Pend archetypes have like some way of locking out other archetypes from using, I guess, their Pend aspects. So in case of DD, we have this effect here. This is only for the rest of this turn, so it is possible to use, like, if you look at Orthros and Ragnarok, you'll notice actually they don't lock you out of Pendulum summoning any DD monsters. The effect that's stopping us from, like, for example, well, let's pretend these are level 4. We wouldn't be able to Pen summon them because of Gilgamesh effect. But if we had, for example, Kepler, or not Kepler, well, I mean, yes, Kepler, but Copernicus, you cannot pendulum summon monsters except for DD monsters, so we're only locked into DD monsters if we had a Copernicus scaled, and we would not be able to pen summon our Ghost Bell and Ash Blossom, I suppose, but that's kind of just how it goes with pens. And just to showcase this real quick, if we destroy our scales, so we'll go ahead Orthros, pop Ragnarok, and pop Orthros. So they'll just destroy, I'll destroy these two. They'll get sent to the extra deck face up. If we were to use a send to graveyard effect like Dingirsu, they would be sent to the graveyard properly. And I think that's about it for the basics for pendulum summoning, so I'll see you guys whenever I finish that DD combo, DD how to play DD video or whatever. Haven't decided on the title yet.